to our functional fitness class. Part of our free series with GoGo. Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services, all by calling one phone number. And that phone number is 855-464-6872. Also a reminder that we have a referral code at the bottom of your GoGo receipt. So if you give that referral code to a friend, once they've taken their first GoGo service, then you will both get $10 in credit. We also have a Facebook group. So if you want to continue any of the conversations we have here or elsewhere online, you can find us on Facebook, and we'll share a link in the chat. All right. I'm going to wipe my screen, my camera. It looks like it's a little fuzzy, so you're going to just see some black for a second. See if that improves the quality here. Sorry. Oh yeah, I think that actually maybe made it better. I'm Adra. Welcome to class. If we haven't met, I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo on Wednesdays and Fridays. Let's see, what do we need today? You need a chair for functional fitness, and then I use a set of weights. You don't have to have weights, but if you'd like, grab a 1 to 3 pound pair of dumbbells, or if you only have one, that's fine as well. If you have no weights, you can imagine that you're lifting weights, and I'll give you cues for that, and so you don't need anything at all. Or you could grab some cans or water bottles that'll give you something to hold on to. Cans are great in that it works on getting a different kind of grip strength, so that's really fun if you want to play around with that, is getting a bigger grip, and that'll work those forearms in a different way than dumbbells. Dumbbells are much easier to hold on to. So that's an option. Maybe next time I'll grab some cans instead of my light weights. Let's see, anything else? Oh, no move of the week yet, because since I was on vacation, everything got all mixed up. We have our move of the week for yoga, but that won't be until next Wednesday that you'll share that with me. And so today I will give you a new move of the week. So if there was something you were holding on to, we'll let it go, because so much time has passed that it probably just got lost. Let's see, I think that's it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So now my video is likely to be your nice big video, but if it is not, then you have to adjust your settings. And you can adjust your settings by going to the top right-hand corner of your Zoom screen. So you will have to move your cursor to the top right-hand corner, and something will pop up, this little square that says view underneath it or above it. If you click that, you can pick speaker view, and that will show me, or you can pick gallery view, and that will show everybody else. This is your time and your practice, so if at any point you need to take a break, listen to your body, that's fine. If something doesn't feel good, you can stop. So make this work for you. Be kind to yourself. All right, let's just come to a nice standing position. Let's do a few big shoulder rolls forward. So this class is mostly standing. Our yoga class is mostly seated. Let's take those shoulder rolls the other way. But as we do the upper body things, you can always have a seat if you need to. All right, let's let those shoulders relax. Let's inhale, circle those arms out to the side and then up towards the ceiling. Keep the arms up to the ceiling, and then reach one arm up a little bit higher as you bend the other elbow, sort of a side stretch or a reach, and then other arm up. And just alternating, reaching one arm as high as you can, and then the other arm as high as you can. And coming back to center. Let's bend those knees a little bit, keeping your lower body stable. So I'm just in a slight plie or a slight bend, where I keep my head still over my pelvis. So a slight bend of the knees. Imagine you are squeezing something between your knees, like a block or a pillow. so that those knees stay tracking forward. Bring your arms to a cactus position or a 90-degree bend, and we'll twist the upper body, trying to keep the lower body as stable and still as possible. And then come to center and twist the other way. And center. So lower body stays stable as we rotate the upper body. And come back to center, releasing those arms and shake it off. All right, so we're gonna go to face our seat of the chair. So if you can, you're gonna find a way to face the seat of the chair. I'm going sideways. You can keep facing forward or whatever direction works for you. We have lots of other options if this isn't gonna work for you. So we're going to a hands on the seat of the chair position. Knees are bent. Now, if this is not possible for you, you could be on your fists, so that's another option. You could also find a table and put your forearms on the table, or you can come to the other side of the chair and do forearms on that. We're going to move our spine. So take a moment, find that position. So hands or forearms are supporting you. The spine is long. I'm wearing quite a thick sweater, so I'm going to tuck it in a little bit. Knees are soft, mostly so that your spine can be nice and long. Shoulders away from the ears. We're going to extend and flex the spine in something that we actually often do in yoga called cat-cow. So we'll inhale, bring the chest forward and try and reach your tail up like you're trying to stretch your abdomen. And then exhale, round the back like you're a Halloween cat. You're really curling that spine. So inhaling, chest comes forward, tail goes up, stretch the front of the body, and then exhale, rounding the spine like a Halloween cat. Keep going. Knees are as bent as you need them to be. You might feel a little hamstring stretch as you do this. If it's too much, come up higher. So hands on the back of the chair or forearms on the back of the chair. The height of a couch armrest might be a really good height as well. So you have options to change things so that it works for your body. Just a few more. All right, finding a neutral spine and then coming all the way up to stand. Okay, since we're already facing our chair, we're going to come close to the chair. So I want you to stand so that your knees are just barely touching or grazing the chair. So they are touching the chair, but just a little bit. If you need to for balance, you can always hold on to the back of the chair. We're going to go into a variation of squats that forces us to push the weight back into our glutes and into our hamstrings more than the front of the legs, more than the quads. So hands are on the chair, knees are barely grazing the chair, and then we bend the knees and hips go back, but don't push the knees into the chair. So don't let that chair move. You want to continue to barely graze the chair. So it's not a very deep squat, not yet, and then straighten those legs. So again, finding your nice tall position, knees are barely touching the chair, fingertips on the chair if you need that balance support. Bend the knees, hips go back. Don't let that chair push forward, so don't let the chair move. And also try not to push into it too much so that the weight can go back. So it should really feel like most of the weight is in your heels and very little weight is in the toes and the ball of the foot. And coming up Couple more times. You can play with doing this without holding on, but just know that this is not about balance. So if you're feeling like the balance is tricky, please keep holding on. It's about really getting that weight back. So it loads your muscles in a different way than our traditional squats where we let the knees come forward. Here, knees are staying directly above your ankles. So I'm going to move away from the chair for a moment just so you can see my legs a little bit better. There's a difference. So what we're doing is this. You can see that my shins are vertical, right? They're straight up and down versus way forward. So this is more kind of traditional squat position, is having those knees really forward. Here, we're getting those knees way back so that they're over the heels. Let's do 2 more. All right, and coming all the way up, shake it off. We're going to revisit that, so you can leave your chair where it is, but we'll give that a break for a moment and find your weights if you have them. So grabbing your weights if you have them. And we'll do a few shoulder rolls with the weights. And again, if you don't have weights, that's fine. You can just imagine you're carrying something. Shoulder rolls go the other way. Or you can grab some cans or water bottles. All right, let's just hammer curls today. So shoulders relaxed. That means those palms are going to face towards each other. And then we bend those elbows. Hands come towards the shoulders, and then we straighten. We bend and straighten. You can do this slowly. If you don't have weights, I want you to imagine that you're picking something up really, really heavy. Even if you do have weights, you can imagine that your weights are much heavier than they are. You can also do this fast. If you choose to do it fast, make sure that you're not swinging, right? You can see that my arms, my upper arms are sort of a blob with the rest of the body, right? That's all one versus this swinging. This is not what we're doing. We're not swinging. So I'm showing you what not to do. There's nothing wrong with that, but then you're really using momentum to move the weight versus the muscles in your body. So we're keeping that upper body still, the upper arms still, a couple more. All right, let those arms straighten, take a moment, shake it off. Take a breath. We're gonna keep holding on to these weights for some overhead pressing. So we start in that bent position that we were in at the top of the hammer curl. And then we push those arms up towards the ceiling and then back down. So we're keeping it narrow today. So oftentimes we have this facing forward. Today we're going to keep our palms facing each other and we push those arms up and back down. You can always do one arm at a time or just one arm if you have a shoulder injury. You can take breaks. You can get rid of your weights. So reaching those arms overhead can be really fatiguing. And so if you're finding that it's hard with the weight, put the weight down. As you do this, try and make sure this is an arm exercise and not a spine exercise. So the spine is trying to stay still, the ribs are trying to stay still. It is just the arms moving up and down. Couple more. All right. Let's bring those arms down. Let's put the weights off to the side wherever you'd like. And we're coming back to those squats in front of the chair. Again, if you don't have a chair, that's okay. You can be away from the chair, or if you can't move your chair, just make sure your shin is vertical. So it means you're not going to go that low, most likely. So coming in front of the chair, if you're doing the same as me, stand tall or stand normally in front of the chair with your knees grazing the chair. Hold on to the back of the chair if you need to, or any part of the chair if you need to, and start to do those squats where the weight goes really far back. So weight shifts into those heels, hips go back. You're squatting. It's sort of like halfway between a squat and a deadlift, really, because I want those shins vertical. I don't want those knees to push into the chair. So the pressure into the chair is the same the entire time, and then coming up. Keep going. So we're bending and straightening those legs, holding onto the chair for support, putting that weight back into those heels so that the glutes can do the work. Try not to push the knees into the chair. So if your chair sort of shifts or deforms, then you know you're pushing into it. And so that means you make it smaller. Only go so far as you can maintain that form. We're just teaching our body to move in a different way to activate different muscles. You want to add some breathing. You can inhale on the way down. Exhale as you rise. All right, and coming all the way up and grabbing your weights. So we're going to combine the last two exercises if you'd like. You can also just do a few of one and then a few of the others. So we had the two exercises, the hammer curl and then the overhead press. So we're going to put them all together. Of course, if you want to just do one for a few and then do the other for a few, that's totally fine. But you have the option to combine them. So we start with that hammer curl, bending the elbows, hands come by the shoulders, and then push the arms up towards the ceiling, and then bring it all the way down. So keep going here. So we're combining that hammer curl with the overhead press. You can always alternate arms too if you're getting tired. And always being gentle with your body, kind to your body. So if you have an injury, listen to that. A couple more. All right, and then we'll put those weights down. And come stand behind your chair if that is possible. If it is not possible to get to the back of the chair where you can hold on to the back of the chair, find a wall, find a table, something to hold on to for balance. I'm just gonna shift my chair a little forward. You don't need to move. Again, I'm sideways just so you can see better. You can just keep facing your camera so you can see me. All right, moving into some balance. So standing, we'll step the right foot in front of the left like you're standing on a tightrope. So all 10 toes face forward, feet are completely flat on the ground, and you're holding on to the chair. If this is already very challenging, you can turn your legs out a little bit. So that would mean that I turn my toes out to the side or away from the middle of the body. That will give a greater base of support. If that's still too much, you could also step your feet out a little bit so that you're no longer on a tightrope, but on railroad tracks. So you want to find that just right challenge where it's a little bit hard, but not so hard that you're going to hurt yourself or that you cannot do it. So you're finding that balance, that tandem balance, whether your feet are pointing forward or turned out, or if you have a wider stance. Feel free to keep holding on to the chair or start to lighten up and hold on with just one finger or two fingers if you'd like, right? This is just leveling up if you want to. If that's easy, then maybe you hover your hands above the chair. Always feeling free to go back to one of the other variations. It's okay to fall out of the pose as long as you can fall out safely, right? That you fall out and then you don't fall completely, right? It's okay to wobble. That's how we get better, is adjusting based on that wobbling, finding that balance. All right, hands back to the chair. Check out which foot is in front, so make sure you switch. So I'm going to take my right foot back and take the left foot forward, but just make sure you swap. And then you find this balance on the other side. So either you're standing on a tightrope with all 10 toes facing forward, or if you need to, those toes turn out, or you can step out to the side on railroad track. So find that just right challenge for you, where it's hard, but not so hard that it feels unsafe. Feel free to keep holding on to the chair, or maybe you hold on with one or two fingers, or maybe you hover your hands. Two hands back on the chair. Step those feet next to each other. And we'll go into a stretch. So keeping those hands on the back of the chair, walk your feet back. We're going to create sort of an upside down L position. So those legs are vertical-ish. Your torso is parallel-ish to the ground. Knees can be bent. Your torso can also be higher. So if it's too much on the shoulders to bring the torso parallel to the earth, you can bring your torso up a little bit. Couple of deep breaths. All right, walk your feet forward, lift your torso up. We're going to continue on with a little more balancing here. So continue to hold on to your chair or table or wall. We'll shift the weight onto the left foot and bend that right knee, lifting that right foot off the ground. If this is too much, go back to the earlier variation of standing on a tightrope or a variation of the tightrope. If this feels okay, then maybe you hold on with just one or two fingers. Right, feeling free to stop along the way. I'm giving lots of options. You stop at any point, or maybe you hover those hands. All right, so find whatever amount of challenge you need to work on your balance in a pain-free or as little pain as possible way. Hands back to the chair, foot comes down, and we switch sides. So weight shifts onto the right foot or whichever foot you haven't balanced on. We bend the other knee, foot comes off the ground. So we're standing on one foot. If this is not going to work for you, you stand in that tandem stance with one foot in front of the other. Holding onto the chair with one hand, two hands, or one finger, two fingers, or no hands. Whatever works for you to give you that challenge. All right, and release, relax, shake it off. Grabbing those weights, we're going back to that combo of the bicep curl and the overhead press. So giving our legs a break, coming back to those arms. We bend the elbows, hammer curl, then overhead press, and back, down. So torso tries to stay as still as possible. Couple more. We're not gonna do these again today. Maybe one last one. Whew. All right, and then put those weights down. We're gonna come back and face the chair. We're doing one last set of these squats with the weight back with an additional balance if you'd like. So I'll walk you through that, so don't worry. And really it's less about the additional balance, but more about getting weight on one leg. So I actually recommend that you hold on to your chair the entire time, whether that's holding on to the back of the chair as you bend those knees, or if you have armrests, you could grab onto those as well. So first, getting yourself set up, standing tall, knees just grazing the chair. So make sure that when you set yourself up, that you don't cheat yourself, that you stand tall and let those knees touch the chair. Then begin to bend those knees, hips go back. Don't let those knees push the chair forward or create indentation in the chair. So make sure that as much of that weight as possible is going back. Then hold on to the chair. So whether you have the balance or not, I want you to start by holding on to the chair. And you can hold on to the back of the chair or the base of the chair or your armrests. From there, shift your weight towards the right leg. And then if you want, you can lift your left foot off the ground. I'm going to show you a front view of that. So I'm letting the weight shift onto one leg and then lifting the other foot off the ground. So it's like you're doing a one-legged squat. Please keep holding on, at least for these first few. And then foot comes down and we switch sides. So weight shifts to the other foot, float your leg, feeling those glute muscles, right? That weight is still back. Notice if you're starting to push forward. If you're starting to push forward, try and back off. Foot comes down, come to stand. So I've seen that, I've shifted and cheated because I'm so far from the chair now. So come forward towards your chair. Take your feet maybe a little closer together. It'll make it slightly easier to balance on one leg, even if we're holding on. Fingertips to the chair as you bend those knees, or you can grab on. Weight shifts back. Find those vertical shins. It doesn't need to be big. So as we start to move to one leg, maybe you bend lats. Maybe it's a really tiny bend. It doesn't need to be super deep. So weight is back into those heels. Weight shifts onto the right foot. Maybe that left foot comes up. Can you maintain the integrity of your position so that right knee isn't pushing into the chair? It's still just barely grazing it. That right hip is staying in line. It's not jutting out to the side. Left foot comes down and then rise. Again, knees are grazing the chair. We bend the knees, hips go back. Hold on to your chair. Switching sides, if you're doing the same as me, weight shifts into your left leg. And then maybe that right foot comes up. Holding onto the chair as much as you need so that you can really load that left hip. Watch that the left hip isn't jutting out to the side, that the knee and the hip are in line approximately. Foot comes down and straighten out. I'm going to just show you briefly what I'm talking about when I say make sure that the knee is in line. So when we go into that squat and then we go onto one leg, sometimes what happens, so look at my standing leg, is this. If that's happening, I want you to back off so that you can keep that leg really in line. I don't want it to be knocking in, right? I want it to stay nice and in line. So we'll do that one more time on each leg. So feet are relatively close together, whatever feels comfortable. Just because since we're standing on one leg, it's going to be easier if you start with your legs closer together. And then bend those knees, find that little squat where the weight is really far back. Again, check out those knees, make sure they're not pushing into the chair, and also make sure that they're not like knocking in completely. Hold on, so give yourself that support. Push down into that right heel, and then lift that left foot off the ground. Left foot comes down, straighten out the legs, little break. And last one, bend those knees, hips go back. Again, you're just barely grazing the chair. Don't change the pressure of that left knee against the chair. Hands hold on, and we float that right foot. Foot comes down and straighten out, shake it off. Woo! Well, hopefully you got the backs of those legs to work. We're gonna move into some lunges now. I find that it's easiest to do this holding on to the side of the chair, facing sideways. Some people prefer to face the chair to do this. You can also find a wall to do this. I'm going to start right hand on the chair, left foot forward, right foot back. Feet are anywhere from 1 to 3 feet apart. It is up to you. It depends on the length of your legs. Back heel is off the ground. Front heel stays down. That front foot stays completely flat on the ground. We're going into these lunges, so we bend both knees. It is up to you how far you bend. Maybe it's just a little bend. Maybe it's a deep bend. I don't mind, whatever works for you. And then straighten the legs. So we bend the knees and straighten. Make this work for your body. So if you need to adjust, you can. Some people find that it's better on their knees to just bend the front knee and not move the back leg. If that's you, that's fine. Okay. And then stepping forward, you can either switch legs here or you can turn around to switch legs. So right foot is in front, left foot is behind. All 10 toes face forward. Back heel is off the ground, front foot is completely flat. Feet are anywhere from 1 to 3 feet apart. You are not on a tightrope, so you're on railroad tracks, you have some space. If you're on a tightrope, it makes it really, really hard to balance. So allow yourself to have a little bit of space width-wise. We bend the knees and straighten. Again, it's up to you how deep you go. All right. And then stepping forward, back foot meets the front foot. Grabbing those weights. We're doing triceps. You might find that you want to do this with just one weight. I'm gonna take off my sweater, that way you can see this a little better. So either you do this with one weight or you'll do it with two. Just depends on what feels better for you. You can also do this with no weight. It's a lot of shoulder stretch to do it either way. So arms are going to reach up towards the ceiling. We've done a lot of overhead stuff today. So we have opened that up. We try not to move the spine too much. If you have two weights, it helps sometimes to have the weights rest against each other. And then we bend the elbows, hands go behind the head, and then we straighten the arms. So this is one variation. I'm going to show you another option as well. So you do this either with Both weights are one weight, so you can share holding on to one weight. If you're like, there is no way I am doing that. Your other option is to go into tricep kickbacks. So you let your torso come forward and you bend and straighten those arms. I'm not going to go into the form of this one too much, but just know that that's another option if this overhead thing is not working for you. We don't usually do the overhead, we often do the tricep kickbacks, so that's why I'm not going into detail into that other option. Keep coming to class and I will go into detail about it another day. So here, if you're doing that overhead one, watch those elbows. Those elbows are married to each other and they don't want to pop away from each other. They still have this magnetized feeling of each other. So don't let those elbows pop away from each other too much. A little bit's okay. Trying to move that through that full range of motion. Couple more. We're only going to do 2 sets of these. So this one, we'll do another one after we do our lunges again, and then we're basically done. All right, let's bring those arms down. Woo! Shake out those arms, and we'll go back to those lunges. So holding on with your right hand or whichever arm you want. Left foot forward, right foot back. All 10 toes face forward, back heel is off the ground. You're on railroad tracks. We bend the knees, torso stays upright, and we straighten. So we're bending and straightening. I'm going to show you a front view just because you can stay where you are. All right, and then we step forward and switch legs. So I'm going to turn around to switch, but you can stay where you are. This time, right foot is forward, left foot is back. If you did the same as me. All 10 toes face forward, back heel is off the ground. It's up to you how low you go. We bend and straighten those knees. All right. And then stepping forward. Woo. Shake it off. We have those tricep extensions. So I'm going to do the overhead one, but I'll say it again. If you need to do the kickbacks, that's fine. So this is an option. Otherwise, you reach those arms overhead, 1 or 2 weights, and we bend and straighten those arms. Elbows, try and frame the face. Don't let the elbows get too wide. Triceps tend to not be as strong as our other muscles in the arm. And so if you need to, go down, use 1 weight and really try and move through your entire range of motion. Also alternate doing one arm and then the other if you're holding on to 2 weights. All right. And let's bring those weights down. Put them to the side, shake out those arms. You can shake out those legs. Let's take those feet maybe as wide as the shoulders. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling. And exhale, arms come down. Again, inhale, circle the arms out and up. Stay up here, interlace your fingers. I'll come closer so you can see what I mean. Interlace those fingers and then push those palms up towards the ceiling, giving yourself a nice stretch. And then do a slight side stretch to one side. And then a slight side stretch to the other side. And back to center. Release the interlacing. Bend your right elbow. Hand goes behind the head and grab a hold of the elbow with the left hand. We're just getting a tricep stretch. Then we'll switch. So now left elbow bends, hand goes behind the head or neck, and then grab a hold of that left elbow with the right hand. And release. Let's cross that right arm in front of the body. Bring the left arm forward and bend the elbow. Hook the elbow around the forearm and pull the arm in. Watch that that shoulder isn't creeping up towards the ear. Then we'll switch sides. Other arm crosses in front of the body. Bend that right elbow. Grab a hold of the arm with the elbow. Drop the shoulder away from the ear. And release. Interlace your fingers behind your back. If you can't interlace, you're just reaching back or just bringing those knuckles away from the back body, squeezing those shoulder blades together. So again, you can do this with your arms released as well. It's whatever feels better. And then letting that go. I'll take one hand to the chest, one to the abdomen. And just take the next few moments to tune into your breathing. To just feel that motion of the breath. Wherever it goes, you don't need to direct it anywhere specific, just notice. And let's take a deep breath together. Deep inhale through the nose, fill your lungs. Exhale out the mouth, let it go. One more time, deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Release the hands. Awesome work, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. The move of the week. I want you to play with your balance, that tandem stance. So your move is to play with one foot in front of the other, and that's whatever variation that you like. So that's either one foot in front of the other, maybe your toes are pointing out, maybe you have a slightly wider stance, but playing with your balance. So I'm going to write tandem stance as the balance, or tightrope standing as the balance, or the move of the week, but finding your variation and working on that for the next couple of weeks until our next functional fitness class. That's our move of the week. Tightrope balance or tandem balance. I'm going to write that down. And now we have a couple minutes if anybody has any questions regarding class, so yoga or functional fitness. If you have GoGo specific questions, the best thing to do is to contact GoGo directly via email or by calling. And you can unmute yourself or put something in the chat.
Hey, Drew, this is Carol. Thanks for all the alternatives. Right now, I'm having a lot of issues with both shoulders, and just giving me those options has helped me do a little bit more today than normally I would have.
Thanks, Carol. I'm sorry to hear you're having shoulder issues, but I'm glad you were able to modify.
Yep. And I lost my picture again. I don't know. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I saw you earlier though, so at least I got to see you.
It lasted for 30 minutes and then it went blank.
Hmm.
I've really got to call my geek squad.
Yeah, I know nothing about computers, so.
I may not see you next week, so
Okay.
I'll see you when I come back.
All right, great. I will see you when you come back.
Bye bye.
Bye.